Hey everybody, it's Hen.
And Line.
And baby, Aniya, take that thumb up.
And today we are doing our 3-year marriage Q&A. I don't believe we did one of these for our second year, but we definitely did one for our first year. And we are so excited to be answering some brand new questions for you guys.
We're about to spill the tea.
Yeah, you guys.
Y'all asked some good questions.
No,
though.
such good questions.
A lot of good questions. I was going through the questions. I was like, dang, I haven't even thought about half of this stuff. But they were definitely questions that were good for, I think it can help other couples, other married couples, people, relationships. So
yeah, and as you guys can see, we have a special guest, Aniya, because this is our first year married that we have a little one.
Say hey.
That we have a little one, and so yeah, we had to film this video for you guys, and she woke up from her nap early. So we have all the questions on my phone. Basically, a lot of you guys, you asked good questions, but pretty much you guys all asked the same thing. So
there was some that weren't the same.
No, right.
And we're gonna try to get through as many as possible.
Yeah.
If we don't get through, there might be a part 2, but we'll try to get through as many as possible.
All right, so our first question or statement says, compare year 1 to year 3. I think I go first and let you think. All right, so I feel like, and this is like generally speaking, but also year 1 to year 3, I feel like we are more friends. Not to say that we weren't like friends before, but I feel like it's, I guess, like the bond that we've created, the love that we have for each other, and just learning each other's mannerisms and behaviors over time. He's even more of my best friend like today in year 3 than he was in year 1. I just feel like I know him like the back of my hand. I feel like he knows me better than I know myself. And I just feel like the friendship that we have created over these last 3 years has been amazing.
Okay. I'll use a different terminology. But in year 1, what I would say, there was so much change happening. And I feel like year 1 is not much different than year 3, only because every year there has been a lot of change. It's like we always, like year 1, I think, I had a new job. We was moving to New Jersey.
We're in New Jersey.
First time living together, it was just like a lot.
Yeah.
And even in this year, we have a baby. We have a new house.
Yeah.
I'm in a new role. Like Lon's doing new business, so it's like it's a lot of change. But what I will say, to Lon's point, the word I would use would be cohesive, right? So in year 1, we were trying to define what that cohesiveness should look like, which may have led to louder, talked out discussions. But in year 3, I feel like it's what's the word I'm looking for? Unspoken cohesiveness, right? So like Lon said, I know her. I know what ticks her off. I know what gets under her skin. And she knows me as well. So it's kind of, we've made those adjustments from year 1 to year 3. And so we're living in that adjusted state where it seems more cohesive.
And I think what Henry is trying to say, and kind of what I'm trying to say too, is that we have a better partnership. Like, we're partners. And that's kind of what I love about year 3. All right. This kind of sims into kind of what we already talked about, but the next question says, are we friends as a couple, or do we feel obligated to be friends?
Oh, we're obligated. No. I think if you're not friends as a couple, I don't know how you make it.
Yeah.
Because I think we have to be friends first in order for things to work. Like, you would literally get on my nerves if I wasn't.
Yeah, and I think that's like the cool thing of like being married. Like, we are legit friends. You can't fake that. Like, when y'all see the vlogs and Henry's like cracking on me and y'all be laughing at the crazy things he be saying to me, we like bicker like best friends, you know? And I think that's the beauty of our relationship. We are definitely not like faking the funk or like feeling obligated to be friends. We've built that friendship over time, and it has just blossomed into something amazing.
Yeah, and the good thing about friendships is like, as time progresses, it just becomes more fun, right? It's not like things are old and outdated, right? It's just like, I don't know. If I see her cooking in the kitchen and she might got something good on, she's still gonna be looking good to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just think that like Lon said, we are friends. So we are friends first.
what do you do when you're tired of each other? I think this is so funny because, like, even though we are married, my mind, you're gonna pull my hair out. Even though we're married, even though we are a couple and we love each other, we absolutely get tired of each other. It's so funny because when we were on vacation a week ago, can you imagine, like, me, Henry, Aniya in that small little hotel room? So, like, we're used to our 3-floor home, but, you know, for the time being, we were in a hotel. And so, yeah, we got tired of each other. So when we got back home from our vacation, it was like a breath of fresh air to be able to breathe and, like, you know, spread out over our house. But I think, when I get tired of Henry, I just kind of do my own thing. My favorite thing to do is to take long baths and to catch up on shows, whether it be like a Netflix series that I'm watching or YouTube. That's my favorite thing to do when I just need to decompress.
Right now it's Girlfriends.
Girlfriends, definitely.
Before that, it was The Game.
It was.
And for me, I just hop on the game. Yeah. So when I get on, when I play PlayStation, PS4, soon to be PS5. But I play Call of Duty, and I'll be explaining to Lon, like, it's like a whole nother world, because when you play online, it's like other people on there. It's like you're in a whole different world. So literally, that's what I go do. Lon will go watch her TV. I'll go play the game. I can play the game all night.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what I do. If I'm working, though, like, I've been off, but if I'm working, that's also another thing that I can do to kind of pass the time. I'll go knock out some work. So
this question says, did you lose friends after marriage or having a baby?
So for me, I don't think I lost friends, but even before the baby, I'm not the type of person that talks to people every day. And so my friends and I have a relationship where whenever we see each other, whenever we catch up, it's just like we never missed a beat. And a lot of people can't handle that type of friendship or relationship, but I feel like in majority of my friendships, we don't talk all the time. There are some where we talk a lot, but no, I don't think I lost friends because not only that, like in the stages when Lon and I were getting to know each other, we were also developing friendships with each other's friends as well. True. So it didn't really feel like, oh, y'all married, I can't come over because I'm single. We married, but we still gonna turn up with you. So that was my thought.
I did not lose any friends when we had a baby. I just feel like the dynamic, of course, if you have children, if you have friends that don't have children and you have some friends that do have children, your friendships or just speaking about me, my friendships with my friends who have children has deepened, and we're able to have more conversations about motherhood. And then my friendships with my friends who do not have children, they just understand me a little bit more and are more empathetic towards like my schedule and being a mom and knowing that, you know, my first priority is to my family. So I haven't lost any friendships when we had a child. If anything, it's gotten better. I don't know. I don't want to talk about specifics. One of my friendships did dissolve around our marriage. And just generally speaking, I've always heard that like when you get married or when you have a baby, when you have big life events, it shows you, you know, who's really in your corner and who's really, you know, supportive of you. And everyone can't be that person. And that's okay. So yeah, I've lost a friendship along the way. But other than that, I'm still rocking with the same people that I've been rocking with since like grade school and college. So everybody wants to know, and we've answered this question before, do you plan to have more kids, and if so, when? Y'all all up in my uterus, in our business. What's going on here? But
Aniya said no.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely plan to have more kids. As to when, I know the biggest thing for me, well, it's a lot of different factors, but the biggest thing for me is I want to make sure that I am healthy, which I am healthy, but I want to make sure that my next pregnancy is healthy. So it's recommended for you to wait at least 2 full years before your next conception. And waiting longer will make sure that my body is healed physically from the C-section, and then also is a less likely chance for me to incur the same complications that I did before. So hopefully if I'm waiting a little bit longer to get pregnant, I won't run into that high blood pressure, preeclampsia scare, emergency C-section, and it'll give me a greater opportunity of doing a vaginal birth instead of having to do another C-section. Because I've already went through it, I would be prepared mentally for it, but it's not something that I'm like, yeah, let's do this. So yeah, I would definitely want to do a VBAC next time.
And please remember that our first child was not on the schedule. Was not on the schedule. So I think as we continue to establish what routines look like and what the future looks like, I think it will be easier to get you a brother or sister.
And I think it's also hard because Aniya's at the stage right now where she is so busy, and it's like I can't even think about having another child until she is a little bit more self-sufficient, a little bit more independent. If you would have asked me this 3 months ago, before she started crawling, before she started grunting and talking and stuff like that, I'd be like, oh yeah, I could pop out another one, within the next year. But no. Not with Miss Aniya how she is now. But what in the world? Where'd they even come from?
Sitting right here.
It was a screw sitting on our couch from when Henry hung up the pictures, and Aniya got a hold of it. So that's what I'm saying. It's a lot to run behind a child. So hopefully when she gets a little bit older and is a little bit more independent, we can talk about baby number 2.
And on that note, we're going to take a pause. I'm going to make her bottom.
Okay. All right, Henry, this is a question for you.
For me.
Is the way to a man's heart really through his stomach? What's your favorite Cooking with Lawn meal?
Is a way to a man's heart really to his stomach? I would say 50%.
Yeah, I would say part of it too.
It does help that Lawn can cook her butt off. Doesn't help my weight, but it does help my soul. My favorite Cooking with Lawn recipe is actually not released yet. My favorite, I would say, would have to be lasagna.
Really?
Lasagna was my number 1 favorite. I haven't had it in a long time. So what I would say my new favorite is...
What about orange peel shrimp and chicken? We haven't had that in a while, but...
Favorite? If I said Lawn make something right now, it would probably be the hibachi.
Hibachi. Nice.
But there are more coming. So here's a plug. CookingWithLawn.com. Follow, and y'all can see what I'm talking about.
Yes, and this week on CookingWithLawn.com, we are doing Cook and Chat with Lawn live. So make sure you check that out. If you want to become a member, the link is in my description box right now. This Saturday, we are making Cajun shrimp and aged Parmesan grits. It's delicious. And then on Sunday, we are making orange peel chicken. It's going to be equally as delicious. I cannot wait. So hurry up, sign up, become a member. Link in the description box. All right, next question. What are y'all love languages?
Remind me what the love languages are.
I can't remember all 5 of them. Let me see. It's like...
Because Lawn always says mine is this certain one, and I honestly disagree.
Love languages. I know what mine is.
Lawn's love language has to do with quality time. She likes quality time.
Okay, here it is.
And it's words of affection.
Words of affirmation. Acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch.
So Lawn's is acts of service and quality time.
Yes, and words of affirmation. In this order: acts of service, words of affirmation, quality time. Acts of service. Like last night, we had our fathers over for the game and to visit Aniya. And so I went upstairs to bathe and put Aniya to sleep. And when I came down, Henry had already put away everything from downstairs, put away all the food, packaged it up. I literally didn't have to do anything but load the dishwasher. That would have been even better if he loaded the dishwasher. But when I came down, I know because you don't know how to load it. When I came down and saw that he had put everything away, I was just like, okay, like, thank you. It was genuine. It was thoughtful. I didn't have to tell him to do it. He thought ahead. He's like, okay, she's doing this with the baby. When she come down, she may not feel like doing X, Y, and Z. So I really love that he did that for me. And then, wait, where did it just go? Okay. And then words of affirmation. Let's use the same example last night. What if he said to me, Lon, you really did a wonderful job with making the nacho bar. I'm like, oh, thanks, babe. Like, that's really cute to me. And then last quality time is quality time. Go ahead, what's yours, Katie?
Let me see it again.
Words of affirmation, words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. Henry's is definitely physical touch. I don't know which man's ain't physical touch. His is definitely physical touch.
I was gonna try to stay away from that for the audience.
Just keep it real.
It's probably physical touch and words of affirmation.
Oh.
Yeah. So I like my ego being stroked a little bit.
Yeah, you do.
So it could be Lon stating, you know what, babe? The fact that you thought ahead last night and you did all of that for me, you know what? I'm gonna let you play the game for 5 hours. Like, that's the type of affirmation I need to know that I'm good. But no, words of affirmation, physical touch.
Yeah.
And physical touch doesn't always have to be nasty.
No.
You know, sometimes
it's just like little.
It could be
little love touches.
It could be good night and a kiss.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah.
I think, physical touch.
Yeah, definitely physical touch. All right. What's Lon's greatest lesson as a wife, and what's Henry's greatest as a husband? I'm trying to think. My greatest lesson as a wife.
I can start.
What?
So, I would say greatest lesson as a husband, if something rubs you the wrong way, speak on it. Don't wait. Because if you wait, one, the relevancy is not there. And then two, it's hard to discuss it. Like, say for instance, some things might trigger that thing if you never talked about it. And if you're in a discussion and you try to bring it up, I know at least for me and Lon will be like, well, we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about this. So it's important that you address things as they come up and don't try to sweep it under the rug and wait for it to happen later because it can fester. I
can't think of the one for the wife just yet, but what I will say that we've had to learn as a couple, and it wasn't that bad, but we definitely had to learn it, is I always talk to Henry about being a united front. Like, always, like, I don't care if Henry is sleeping in the basement and he's been sleeping in the basement for the last 6 months, okay? When we go out in public, Henry's in the bedroom, okay? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we are good. We're great. We're a unit. We're in a partnership. I don't believe that anyone should be able to see us sweat. And I don't want people to take that the wrong way, as if we're like faking things or like faking the funk or making it seem like we don't have issues and stuff like that, because we do. But people shouldn't be privy to that information.
So I agree with that, but I also want to make the disclaimer as well that if you are that doesn't give you the pass, like if you are in a marriage, right, and things are going horribly,
right,
that you just shut up and say nothing.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
That's a different.
Correct. That's a whole nother
different
ballpark
than what we kind of talking about
here.
So I think it's important for you to know how to discern between those types of events.
Correct.
But yeah, I agree with Lon. And it's crazy because I've seen people who aren't on a united front.
Yeah.
And it's actually awkward. Very awkward and eye-opening.
So uncomfortable.
Like, there have been instances where you talk with one individual and you would assume that they talk, and like, no.
Yeah.
The other person don't know nothing about the conversation.
Yeah.
Or it's like you could, I've talked to couples where one person is talking bad about the other person.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. So.
Right. Yeah, I just feel like you should always just be mindful and just like always paint your partner in a positive light. Because you are a reflection of your partner. You are a reflection of your partner and vice versa. So it just, whatever. What do you feel will keep your marriage going? And the person was specifically talking about like, how do you feel? Because I remember this one. They were asking how do you make sure you have like longevity in marriage? I would say one of the biggest things is like respect. Like, have you ever been around a couple that doesn't respect one another? The dynamic is just
weird.
It's very weird, and it, like I said, it's uncomfortable to be around those types of couples. And I think one of the biggest things about us is that even when we're mad at each other, or if we get into arguments, we have the utmost respect for each other. You won't hear us calling each other out of our names and like having like nasty, like low down types of arguments and like taking digs at each other and stuff like that. That's
friends first.
Yeah, we're definitely friends first, and we definitely respect each other wholeheartedly. So I think when you have that respect, it's like you have I admire him. I think highly of him. There are just certain things that I wouldn't do or wouldn't say or wouldn't act out of the respect that I have for him. So I think that you have to respect your partner first for a long-lasting marriage.
And here's what I say, right? I don't tolerate disrespect, and I don't think Lon does either, right? And so that's an important piece too, because you can be given respect, but also get disrespected. So you got to know what you tolerate, and you need to let that be known from the beginning. I think communication is one of those things.
Oh yeah.
It's important to communicate, even to what she said when she stated, somebody wants to come over, we communicate on that, right? It's never a surprise. And I think that's important, right? Because that shows that you have a united front. I think also our relationship with God is important, right? So, we got to continuously put God first, especially with having a child in the world. Like, we need to be continuously seeking after Him and allow Him to direct our path, which is going to be important for longevity. And I think the last thing is never get content. And what I mean by that is oftentimes we get to a place where, this is just the normal. And when you get content, you stop doing certain things. Could be dating, could be going out to new places, could be just going for a walk, right? It's important that you continuously try to figure out how do we reinvigorate, how do we rejuvenate the relationship consistently so it never gets to a place where it becomes stale. But that's what I got.
Right. What does Lon/Henry do to get on your last nerve? To get on my last nerve. So like if you
if I want to do it purposefully?
No.
Or if I want to do it by mistake?
No, you dumb dickhead. What?
That's not respect. Y'all got to say it right there.
No, they're
Disrespect.
saying like, what do you do to me that gets on my last nerve, and what do I do that gets on your last nerve about me? Did I say that right? What do I do that gets on your last nerve?
Oh, I know the answer.
And see, it's hard for me to think about this right then and there, but if he do it, I'm like, yo, that just got on my nerves so bad.
I got two things.
What?
One thing, Lon loves
we didn't ask for two.
I'm going to give him two. First thing is that Lon likes to talk on speakerphone. And Lon already talks loud. So literally, I can hear whole conversations, and I'm just like, can you turn it down?
I'm like putting the phone to my ear.
Oh, just speak. Get headphones. Second thing is actually along the same line.
What?
But,
I'm so dead, y'all.
Lon watches YouTube and TV shows on her phone, right? And sometimes I'll be in a quiet space, a calm space. Even with my Call of Duty, I don't even use the TV set. I'll put it all through my headphones. Lon will be playing that little phone so loud, and I'm a type of person, I don't like little sounds. That's why I love Aniya's sound machine, because it blocks out the sound. But yeah, that's my only thing, is that she'll watch YouTube. And you said that? You don't like that either? But yeah, I know one for me for Lauren that she probably would say would annoy her. But.
Wait, say it, because I'm having a hard time thinking of one.
So when I shampoo my beard and I
oh
pluck that out,
my
sometimes I don't rinse out the hair.
This question can also go into. So I kind of took all the questions that you guys gave and categorized them into, molded them into the same question. Somebody else asked us like, what gets on our last nerve about living with each other? So this can kind of go around the same thing. All right. So Henry has a very thick, curly, long beard. Sometimes he picks his beard and shampoos it in the shower, or he'll pick it out and kind of like condition it while he's standing over the sink, okay? That hair, that hair gets everywhere. And it does not help that his beard hair looks like pubic hair. Now, I know it's not pubic hair, but when it's all over everywhere and he does not pick it up, it disgusts me 10 times more because it looks like pubic hair to me. So just wash out the sink. So
let me, to my defense, and fellas, you can attest, if I don't have my glasses on, I don't see much of anything. Like, lawn is blurry right now sitting beside me. The camera is blurry in front of me. So when I take a shower, I am washing and doing all of that with no glasses on. Blind, right?
That's your story, huh?
Sticking to it. And so when I get out, yes, I should put my glasses on, look back, turn the shower head on. What I try to do is sweep to the drain while I'm in. But if I can't see what the heck is going on, now.
So the people want to know, how do we settle arguments?
You tell them, how do we settle arguments?
Well, I will say that from year 1 to year 3, the way that we settle arguments has drastically improved. I think that is something that you can always work on as a couple. Like, I'm always striving on how to resolve difficult situations in an okay manner. What I will say is that how we settle arguments, it's better than where we were before, but it was still not perfect. Let me tell you where we were before. Before we got married, and maybe freshly into marriage, it's like, yelling. You saying this, I'm saying that. Not, you walk away from the conversation and nothing's really resolved, or you're going to be angry, you're waking up still giving people the silent treatment and stuff like that. We have much less of that now. I wouldn't say that
silent treatment is pretty much gone.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that we have arguments, because I feel like an argument implies that I am yelling at you and you are yelling at me. We are arguing with one another. We don't really do that. We more so have disagreements where we are speaking passionately, and it may sound stupid, but literally, I feel like we're speaking passionately to one another. And that continues to go on until most of the time we'll find a resolve. Even if it's agreeing to disagree, that may just have to be the resolve for that disagreement. But yeah, it's rare that we're like blowing up to a point of like no return.
But what I'll say is this. The lesson learned from year 1 to year 3 is that you don't have to agree on everything.
Correct.
And I think a
we're
lot
okay with that
of
now.
people feel that your spouse has to agree with everything that you say. Mm-hmm. And that's when you're going to run into a lot of arguments, because people have their own minds. Mm-hmm. But here's what I'll say. If you find yourself, this is what I'm getting into my Dr. Phil. If you find yourself disagreeing a lot, then you need to evaluate the person that you're with. Because that essentially means, and it's funny because it makes me think about Cardi B and Offset when she was saying, it's fun. It means you're not on one accord, right? Yeah, you should be aligning on most things and kind of talking through some of those things that you don't agree on. So I would definitely say that is the case. I think we have an opportunity to improve upon the resolution piece. We try to introduce some type of resolution at the end of the discussion, but there are times where we don't. And in those times where we don't, I think the thing we do great is we don't carry that foolishness into the next day.
I agree. Or even usually throughout the rest of that day. Now, I might not be buddy with him and all like, give me a kiss and all that other stuff. We might not be besties right after that, but I'm also not necessarily holding on to it. And then I think another great thing is that most of the time when we argue, we do really good with like talking out like kind of how it made us feel. So it's just like when you do X, Y, and Z, what that makes me feel like is A, B, and C. And so you can understand why this person feels so passionately about the disagreement because it's making them feel, you know, whatever that way is.
And I think that dynamic changes the conversation, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's different when you're trying to push somebody to hear your point and understand it. But when you position it as this is how I feel, regardless of what anybody else thinks, this is how I feel and this is how what you did made me feel, that can't be disputed. Mm-hmm. So I think it forces you to kind of listen and be like, okay, well, you can even say, oh, I'm sorry you felt that way.
Right.
But I think it puts us in a situation where now we have to kind of listen, which initially that's not what we were good at. We were just talking at each other. So.
All right, guys, this is going to be our last question because I know this Q&A is already long. How has marriage changed after babies? So many people wanted to know that. How has marriage changed? So much, I would say one of the biggest things is communication. We noticed that almost instantly after bringing Aniya home is how much our communication, even though we had good communication for a married couple without children. We needed to heighten our communication for married people with a child. It was just small things like coordinating family visits, coordinating if I even want any visits for this day. I don't know who would do what changes and what feeds and wake up at what time. What else did we have to communicate on? I just feel like our original communication didn't cut it. We just had to kick it up a notch. Appointments and yeah. You also have to communicate about like your needs and wants and like where you are. I feel like mentally and emotionally. Thank goodness I had a very smooth recovery period. It was difficult physically to get back, but like mentally and emotionally, I was great, and Henry was a great support. But if those things weren't that great, or if I was going through a difficult time, I would have needed to feel comfortable opening up and sharing that with my husband. Or even like let's say recovering physically, I had to tell him like, you know, when I couldn't walk or when I needed support, and if I needed help going to the bathroom or changing or helping with showering myself, I had to come out and say those things. So I think communication is key. We definitely had to up that.
Yeah, I think when you have a child, right, you can still go freely. Mm-hmm. But you have to be more intentional, right? Because there's preparation involved with the child and different things like that. So that was one thing that we stated beforehand that we wouldn't allow to change. Like, because we have a baby, that's not going to stop us from going to the store. It's not going to stop us from going out. What it does stop us from is going out by ourselves, right? So we do a lot of things together.
Oh, like you want to go out by yourself, or me and you go out by ourselves?
Yeah.
What?
Me and you going out by ourselves.
Okay.
But even if we wanted to go out by ourselves, normally if one of us would go out by ourselves, the other one would still have that peace and quiet at home.
Yeah.
That piece of it is eliminated, right? Because if one of us goes out, the other one is taking care of Aniya. But what I will say is that we have to be more intentional. And what that means is when it comes to quality time, when it comes to dates and stuff like that, we can't just up and go and say we're going to go now. Now we got to kind of think it out.
Yeah, so it's like next Friday, we're going to go do this. We need to get somebody to come watch Aniya so that we can leave for X amount of hours. It's definitely a little bit more calculated.
Yeah, and it's also even more, like Lon said, like people coming over and stuff like that. That's even more calculated too, because you already don't get time to yourself, right? And then those gaps of time that you do, like for me, I work like literally 12 hours, 11 hours, 13 hours sometimes a day. And then I get 2 days on the weekend. And so it's like filling that time up with visits and stuff like that is not always what I want. Not always what you want when it comes to enjoying your weekend and getting some quiet time. So I think that communication is key. And I think just being intentional on your schedule and making sure you guys are on the same page is key. But I will say it's not as crazy as people make it out to be.
I agree.
I think it's because of those elements that we've heightened and changed.
Yeah.
But it's definitely doable. You can definitely still have a good time, do what you want to do, go out to eat, whatever, if you guys have a good working partnership.
Yeah, I think it's definitely all about the dynamic that you have with your spouse and how much support you have around you, because everybody's like, I just feel like people have given such negative, like they don't mean to be negative, but people have given such negative advice and have put such a negative stigma about introducing a baby into a marriage or into a relationship. Now, I will say, like, because of how our marriage has changed in a good way, but also because of the coordinating that we were just talking about, I see now how, like, people who are not in a marriage, sometimes how those relationships dissolve. Like, sometimes people aren't even together by their child's first birthday. I see how that can happen now because it's such a change. And if you are just boyfriend and girlfriend, you have no commitment to stay in this and make this work. So when things are getting tough, it's just like, oh, deuces, I'm out of here. I ain't got time for this. Yeah, so that, I'm just saying that to say that everybody's dynamic is different. So the person that's going to give you advice is going to be based upon what they went through. Like Henry said, it's really not that bad. Like, yeah, do we got to plan on things a little bit more in advance? Sure. Can I just up and go to Target? No, but I can say, Henry, you know what? When Aniya gets up from her next nap, let's go to Target. Or when Aniya goes down for her next nap, I'm going to run to Target. Like, can you stay here with her while she's napping? You get what I'm saying? So it's just planning and coordinating and having that support and having that open communication.
Structure for your baby, right? Because we can say when she goes down for a nap, we know how long she's going to stay asleep.
Yeah.
Because we structured that same routine day in and day out. So that's definitely important too. And what I'll say to you is this, right? People do this knowingly and unknowingly, but a lot of people, and Lon touched on it, will try to project their negative experience on you. You do not have to take everybody's negative experience for face value for your own situation.
Yeah, I agree.
In all things, right, my goal is always to figure out, how do I learn from people's experience to avoid it? And, you know, you got some people who won't learn from it and will continue to perpetuate and do that same thing over again. That's not what we seek to do. Yes, we take in what you said, but we also have these elements that may not have been implemented at your house that has driven us to success. So I think it's important for you to learn from those families who are positively speaking about their experience and what they've implemented that you can leverage and you can have a positive experience as well. So in closing, we truly appreciate all of the questions.
Yes.
Like you guys hit on every element, every category, from emotions to communication to baby. And I think it's important even for us to reflect on.
Yeah, like it's also therapeutic for us to kind of talk out loud about these things. And it helps us kind of see how far we've grown from year 1 to year 3, what we're doing great, what we still have to work on. So we thank you. We hope that you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so that you know when we upload all the time. You don't want to miss any of our uploads. And yeah, we'll see you guys in our next video. Peace.